It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley as we move into a Tuesday. Gary, what's happening?
I'm reading
Are you?
Rich Lowry yesterday. You ready for this?
All right, what do you got?
It was inevitable. Fugitive Democrats are going back to Texas, and Republicans will get their quorum for redistricting. The way these things always work is that Democrats leave the state in a showy protest.
Yeah.
They get lots of media attention, which distracts them temporarily from the fact that they're living in a Holiday Inn Express somewhere, and then the attention fades, and then they are still living in a Holiday Inn Express away from their family and jobs, and defending democracy doesn't look so fun anymore. Exactly what we had said.
Exactly what we said.
I know. I was like,
Yeah.
charge him with plagiarism.
Yeah. Quit stealing our stuff, people that are smarter than we are.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he's stealing
That's not
stuff from us.
fair.
Right? Oh man, I just we'll get to that. Man,
Well,
busy-
it's like,
busy day.
I looked at the forecast today with, what was it, about a dozen of those state lawmakers coming back into our state. I looked at the forecast, and sure enough, this morning they said it's a 20% chance of more crazy.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it's happening.
It's not going to end. Let's get to the big topic from yesterday, and I'll start with remember Clinton, Democrat Clinton. I think it was Clinton pollster Mark Penn wrote this yesterday. From what I can see, nearly 1 million people have died in the Ukraine war, and Biden was unable to even attend the G6 meetings without embarrassing the country. In contrast, Trump is pulling off unprecedented diplomatic feats to advance serious negotiations that has a reasonable chance of being successful, and the press coverage of it has been ludicrous. If Obama had done this and pulled off these meetings, it would be hailed as a tour de force rather than the downplaying and naysaying every move we see in the press. He may or may not be successful, but it has been an incredible effort that should be respected and applauded. And for the people involved, a new hope for designing a lasting peace with real enforcement, unlike the previous empty security guarantees. That's Democrat Mark Penn.
It's interesting because I was thinking of that as I was watching everything play out yesterday. And I was thinking, you talk about a well-oiled diplomatic machine, especially by comparison to where we were in the first Trump term. First of all,
No, that's a great point. Don't compare it to
compare it to him.
You don't
first term, yeah,
right. Comparing him to Biden,
yeah,
comparing almost any president to Biden is like insulting the person you're comparing to Biden.
Exactly. Compare it to that first term, and the first term, there wasn't enough diplomacy in the room to bring his own party together. Now, fully in charge of his own party, with few exceptions, and diplomacy, international diplomacy, I don't even know what to say. The Middle East, the trip to the Middle East, NATO. I thought they were going to have a parade for him at NATO or following NATO. The bombing of Iran, which kind of set the tone. Getting Putin to come to Alaska. And by the way, that coverage of that whole thing, he points out here, again, a liberal pointing out, that the media coverage is it was just absolutely ludicrous. Well, he didn't get what I even saw that, that tone in the Wall Street Journal, which, we have to point out the reporters in the Wall Street Journal can be as liberal as any other liberal activist reporter out there. The editorial board may be different at times. But you look at that tone from the weekend and, well, what an embarrassment. He rolled out the red carpet and got nothing in return.
I forgot who said yesterday, who the hell cares what color the carpeting was?
No,
are you actually advancing something
right
that will two things: bring peace. Number two, blunt Russia from expansionism, because it's actually if you can stop this, then it's not just a victory for, people say, well, we finally brought Ukraine peace. It's a victory for Europe. It's a victory for the United States. Even forget about a victory for the United States, because United States alone, we see victories all the time. We saw it, for example, in Iran.
Right.
If we want to do something, we can get it done.
Right.
But when you start bringing Europe in there, and to me, and I got to say, and I hate this, but the Democrats have gone so crazy that as I'm watching yesterday, and we'll be playing, all the different leaders, because you play the audio cuts from the leaders yesterday, and you're just like, what world are we in? What
exactly?
World? Because it's just it's amazing, the unity, and it's all because of Trump.
Right.
I know that drives the left crazy. And look, we criticize Trump when he thinks he's wrong. When we think he's wrong, not when he thinks he's wrong. Has that happened yet? No. but you have to look and say, what is actually going on here? And this is Trump.
This is all him.
And it's not just Trump being, let me use a Democrat phrase, the authoritarian who is dictating to everybody. No, and as we said last week when we went over this, we said, look, there's a way to explain this to Europe and say, this makes you stronger.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
come in here, this makes you stronger. When it comes
and you have more power. I mean, you have more of a say-so in whatever future negotiations or deals there may be.
And if you, for example, because we also brought up last week, not just the possibility of Ukraine deal, but Trump saying in NATO that look, it's not just, you need to pay your fair share. Look, you need to pay the freight for the security that you get.
Right.
But in return, it's not just that I'm demanding to do it. If you pay more, you get more of a say in how to run what's going on.
You have greater standing.
Right, what's going on around the European Union.
Yep.
For everybody that's not a part of the European Union that may be threatening you, it makes you stronger.
And us more willing to listen.
Right. And so it makes you more powerful.
And when you look at the diplomatic game, I think one indicator, one thing you can point to, I guess, is the joint press conference. It wasn't a press conference; it was the joint statements by Putin and Trump in front of the press on Friday. That's one of the shortest statements he's given in a long time. And the way that he was reserved, for Trump, very reserved. And I thought there's a couple things going on. It could either be that he doesn't really have much hope and it's not going to go far. Although I didn't see that, playing out. I thought it probably did go as he expected, by the way. No victory parade here. It was a listening session from the beginning. They kept saying that. And I think that was the best way to phrase it. But the fact that he was just getting straight to the point, and then boom. And then yesterday, when they stopped the meeting, and he goes in to the Oval Office with Marco Rubio, Vice President Vance, and they're sitting there, and they're having a phone call with Putin. They stopped the meeting to call Putin. This is work being done. This isn't lip service. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think Trump knows what's going to happen. But when you start looking at making a pretty massive deal, and as you point out, this isn't only about Ukraine. That was another thing that kept playing through my mind over the weekend. This isn't just about Ukraine. We're not ones that, you and I haven't put Ukrainian flags on our, on our social media pages. But and we think that the involvement should be limited. However, we've also talked about where the balance is. Putin has to be kept in check. And liberal administrations were not going to do that. Crimea and, of course, Biden. And as you mentioned, you have to put that big Biden asterisk there because no one was as bad as he was.
Well, one of the things I've never explained it this way, but I was thinking about this yesterday. We always talk about the pathology of dependency and the mindset that it creates. And when you look post-World War II, my question would be, have we created a pathology of dependency? We did sort of address this last week. Have we sort of created a pathology of dependency from Europe when it comes to military matters that we're just going to, we'll criticize the United States when they do something, but we want them, hey, it's up to you to take care of everything. And Trump is trying to reverse that, saying, look, you need to get out of this. You need to control your area of the world. We've got NATO, and we're here we're here, and we'll be there when you need us, and we'd like you to be there also. It's reciprocal.
Yeah,
you've got to be back in it. But the fact is, you get more power when you have a stake in it.
Yep.
When you truly have a stake in it. And what I saw yesterday is I saw them complimenting him, but the German president, he came out and said, well, he'd like to see a ceasefire, and I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
And they went, well, no, not really. They didn't seem they were talking and discussing things back and forth. Now, what happens behind the scenes, we don't we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, what I saw really for the first time in just the longest time is the leadership of Europe standing as partners with the United States, who now have more of a stake and wish to have more of a stake in defending their portion of the world. And I understand that the immediate thing is peace, but I think there's a bigger umbrella here that Trump is creating that nobody's really talking about, which is...
I think you're really onto something, and it is that global leverage. And Alan, let's write this down. Diplomatic pathology of dependency. Gary McNamara, Tuesday, August 19, 2025, roughly 12:15 a.m.
Well, look, human beings are the same.
Yeah.
I don't care where you go. Human beings are the same.
Yeah,
and if it becomes where... when the United States becomes, look, we don't have to prove our power to anybody.
Yeah, right.
But when the United States, and a lot of it is post-World War II, and we came out of it as the world superpower and the rebuilding of Europe, and I can understand all of that at that particular point. But you got to get to the point where it's like, okay, there really doesn't really need to be a need to have as many troops as we have in Europe.
Yeah, right.
It really doesn't.
Right.
There did, for a while, there did during the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at it, it's like, well, no. And it's not the fact that we're not going to be there when you need us. It's the fact of you need to have a stake in this. You need to protect your it's your territory.
Yep.
You protect it. Because if that's not the case, then what's built is resentment against the United States.
Right.
Because that's what happens. When you take care of when you sit there and you give money and you give protection to everybody and they don't have to pay back and they don't have to have the stake that they should have in it, what do you create? That pathology of dependency. And the pathology of dependency creates what? Number one, dependency. Number two, resentment when things don't go your way. How come we're not controlling it? How come the United States is always doing this? The United States is always doing this.
The ability to give the blame to somebody who's controlling it because you're not.
Right. And Trump is saying partners.
Yep. Exactly.
You have you should be concerned about your area of the world.
Yes.
That's not a radical idea. In fact, it's a very moral idea because you should be responsible, but when you're responsible, then you become more of a player with the Western world overall for your security concerns that are the same.
Yeah.
When it comes to it, you're all concerned because you're all in. You're worried about your territory because you're controlling your territory. You're protecting your territory. And when things happen, consulting with the United States, yes. This is the other thing when people said, well, the United States can't be the world's policeman. Maybe, as I said, the hand that you're drawn, we're still going to be the world's police officer because we're the world's superpower. We just are.
Right.
We have the biggest military. We still have the biggest military. And so when you look, but you can bring in the other partners saying, you control your area, you help us, we'll help you.
Right.
And you make it more cooperative than parent-child.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you
take away that ability that they have to point the finger at the U.S. for not doing more. That's another thing that pathology of dependency creates, is that, well, you didn't do enough. Well, you should do more. It's always more. It's not, it's the same when you apply it domestically to the pathology of dependency when it comes to, the government handouts. But in this case, again, it's the same, and it's, well, that's not enough. You've been doing all this for decades and decades and generations. That's not enough. You need to do more. No.
And being the world's superpower, and the world's, and have the ability to be the world's policeman, you're bringing everybody in with you saying, you're all with us.
Right.
You're all with us. We've all got the same goal.
Right.
Let's work together.
Right.
And we'll be there to back you. You'll be there to back us.
Right.
866-90 Red Eye.
Hi there, this is Hope Zavara with Mother Trucker Yoga, and here's your health tip of the day. Healthy driver, healthy diesel, powered by Howes. Truck drivers are at high risk for carpal tunnel and grip issues from long hours at the wheel, leading to pain, stiffness, and weakness over time. Let's fix that right at the wheel. Using your steering wheel, stretch one finger at a time, starting from your thumb to your pinky. Hold each of those for 10 seconds. Then place all 4 fingers on the wheel and gently press and stretch your palm and wrist. Hold for another 10 seconds. Don't forget to do the other hand. Do this 2 to 3 times a day to keep your hands mobile, strong, and ready for action. There you go. Small, simple changes that can lead to big results so you can feel good again. Visit mothertruckeryoga.com and howesproducts.com for more tips and support.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We're Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. We got tons of audio cuts to play. Let's start with the Italian Prime Minister yesterday talking to Trump.
Something is changing. Something has changed thanks to you. Thanks also to the stalling in the battlefield, which was achieved with the bravery of Ukrainians and with the unity that we all provided to Ukraine.
There you go. We got much more coming up, including some of the media analysis.
Yeah.
Some of the comments on that. It was Sean Spicer who did the carpet thing. He goes, who the hell cares if the carpet was red?
Right.
It's like,
well, I mean,
everything is imagery.
Everything is imagery. Everything has to be completely shredded and, oh, this was horrible and this was horrible. The question is, the overall picture. Is the work being done? The diplomatic game for Donald Trump right now gets an A+ from me.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, let's play more audio from yesterday. This is Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, yesterday talking to the president.
I really want to thank you, President of the United States, dear Donald, for the fact that you, as I said before, broke the deadlock, with President Putin by starting that dialogue. And I think it was in February that you had the first phone call, and from there we are now where we are today. And that is, I think, if we play this well, we could end this. And we have to end this. We have to stop the killing. We have to stop the destruction of Ukraine's infrastructure. It is a terrible war. So I'm really excited.
And let's go. This is the president of Finland yesterday talking to Trump. Here we go. Okay, got it.
In the past 2 weeks, we've probably had more progress in ending this war than we have in the past 3.5 years. And I think the fact that we're around this table today is very much symbolic in the sense that it's Team Europe and Team United States helping Ukraine. And the progress that we're looking out of this meeting is about the security guarantees.
Let me see. What else do we have here? Because it's let me see. Let's listen to the ABC report yesterday. All right, this one because it was written. The title was, "Imagine how painful this must have been for ABC's Mary Bruce to say this about the Trump-Zelensky meeting."
You have it, President Trump sitting side by side with Ukrainian President Zelensky in the Oval Office. The two leaders striking a cordial, collegial tone and also somewhat optimistic. Of course, a notable change in tone from the last time they met, that explosive blow-up that they had in the Oval Office back in February. Back then, President Trump berating the Ukrainian leader.
Okay, but of course, they had to go on with that.
Right. That had to be the brunt of their report. Yeah,
that was the longest part of the report. But still, she had to say that portion of it, and so that was like, oh wow. What else do we have? Let's see if there's something else that I wanted to get here. Oh yeah. I got it. Good God, John Bolton.
Oh yeah. All right.
Did you see that yesterday? Some of it. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imperial order. I think we're a long way from any of that. I can't wait till the MAGA base hears that Donald Trump has committed American combat forces, U.S. forces against Russian forces on the line in Ukraine if the Russians violate the ceasefire. One nuclear power directly against another nuclear power. I don't think that's what they signed up for with Donald Trump, and I don't think he's necessarily thought through that implication either. He wants a Nobel Peace Prize, and
that's the thing coming from Bolton now. Bolton agrees with what he's doing. But now Bolton has become the political analyst about how the president's base won't like it if, and again, it would be it would have to be a joint multi-nation force over there. Right. And by the way, you created that already when we got a stake and when we did the mineral deal.
When we did the mineral deal.
That's already there.
Right.
So whether that would happen or not is to be seen. Bolton is furious. This is the thing about Bolton, and you said it a long time ago. A lot of what Bolton thinks about the way the United States should act is actually correct. He's just got TDS up the yin-yang.
Oh, yeah.
He really does.
Full on.
He just is. It doesn't matter because this is exactly the kind of thing that Bolton would look at, and because he said it last week, I think Trump's doing the right thing. But now it's the political analysis. And look, if you're talking, I don't know what wing, except for the influencers, that were very quiet yesterday and very complimentary of the president. I didn't see anything negative from the influencers.
I didn't see any. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see anything.
And that would be that, and so you look at it, were they, have they been upset about Israel? Probably. What else? What were they upset about a couple weeks ago? What was that a couple weeks ago?
Well, I mean, the whole Epstein thing, that's not diplomacy.
Oh,
but,
yeah. The Epstein thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I really don't care. I really don't care what the I'm more MAGA than your MAGA crowd thinks.
Yeah.
Is Trump, is he attempting to do the right thing? And as we have laid out here, just did it in the last half hour, not just about Ukraine, but are we blunting Russia? Are you ending the war? Are you having Europe take more of a responsibility to take care? Hey, we're there to be with you. Mm-hmm. We understand that we're the world superpower, but with the whole thing with, with getting them to pay more, for NATO, all of this is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so I really don't care about the I'm more MAGA than your MAGA group.
No.
That exists out there because
it's irrelevant.
Because it doesn't make sense to me, to be honest with you. But I didn't see them necessarily upset yesterday. Look, no. I think one of the things that came out of this, to actually look at the specifics of it, and I sense because there's no deal done yet, but I think the security guarantees, because you think about it, and we didn't specifically address it this way. They're not. Zelensky wants the guarantee of NATO. He's not going to get the guarantee of NATO. He's simply going to get another guarantee.
Yeah, right.
Which they wish to give him confidence that it's just as strong as NATO.
Yeah.
So you take that off the table.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether you're in NATO. This is a different deal that we're making.
Right. Well,
it's with Europe. It's with the majority of the members of NATO and the ones in the European Union who are the most affected by it.
And it also, it also depends. There are so many contingencies or possible scenarios here of what this deal may look like. When we're talking about them possibly redrawing borders, even though it was said yesterday that wasn't discussed, or land swaps, or we have no idea where this is going to end up.
Well, again, then you see what the pollster Harry Enton yesterday at CNN was going through, what the actual people. I'm just scanning for the audio here. What the polling says of the people, and the vast majority of the people of Ukraine want a negotiated settlement now, which they did not want back a few months ago. Here it is. I've got this here from Harry Enton. Here we go. Okay. Do I have it?
Absolutely major shifts. The idea that Ukraine's going to achieve complete victory, that idea has collapsed within Ukrainian society. What are we talking about here? Ukrainians on the war versus Russia. You go back to 2022, the start of the war. Fight until Ukraine wins. Look at this. The vast majority, about 3/4, 73% agreed with that position. Negotiate to end the war as soon as possible. Only 22%. Look at where we are now. It's a complete flip. It's the inverse. Now 69% want to negotiate to end the war as soon as possible, compared to just 24% who want to fight until Ukraine wins. That's a 49-point drop in this position. Now, of course, negotiating to end the war as soon as possible, that's a bit more nuanced, right? Ukrainians don't want to agree to all of Russia's demand, but I think the idea of even there being some territory that would be not formally recognized as being given that Russia could in fact stay in, that does have majority support, but the idea of formal recognition of Russia's demands, absolutely not.
So the point is, even in Ukrainian society, you're like, well, we can give them what they want. I think that's it. That's an important point to make, because that wasn't really known before this type of polling has been done about the Ukrainian society itself.
Right.
So I don't hate that I think this way, because I can't stop how other people think, but what I saw yesterday was awesome. It's a rarity to see something like that, and the way that Europe and the United States are united, and hopefully that leads to better things in the future. But I'm sorry, I sit and watch this yesterday, and I'm laughing because I know whether it's the John Bolton there, he's furious. Trump wants to get the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't give a damn. That's the last thing I could care about. If he gets a Nobel Peace Prize or if he doesn't get it, I could care less. I want the job done, and the goals that Trump seems and Europe seems to be laying out here as to what they want to do, led by Trump, who initiated all of this, and bringing them in, having them pay more in NATO, demanding that they take more of a stake in their own territory. All this is good. If it leads to an award, fine. I don't care about awards. I've never cared about awards. All I care about is, are you getting the job done right? That's it. But they're so obsessed with the fact that Trump may be recognized.
Yeah, right. Well, and, again, it's part of the being obsessed with the red carpet thing.
Yeah.
It's the imagery of it all. They can't stand it. And if he ends up, you know what they're saying? People like Bolton and liberals that are mentioning the Nobel Peace Prize, they fear he actually might get it. Because they do put power in that. They do put value in the Nobel Peace Prize. But at the end of it, the only thing that matters is, did something majorly significant get done? And we'll see. But the work right now, the process in place right now is, I think, spot on.
I can see. I can see if he wins the Nobel Peace Prize, I can see the left. Well, it doesn't mean anything because Yasser Arafat won it.
No, that's exactly what they'll do.
Gorbachev won it, and Yasser Arafat won it.
And conservatives didn't care about it before. Republicans didn't care about it before, and now they care about it, and now they're toting it, and it's not a big deal. No, they just can't. These are children we're talking about, and none of it matters one way or the other.
Yeah.
I would love to see him get it only for that response, so that we'll have plenty of audio. But it's not.
If it all works, if it all works, does he? Again, we've seen some. Arafat getting it was like, stop it, please.
Well, we'll rename the Kennedy Center the Trump Center.
But
just drive him full on bat soup crazy. But it's,
and then that long, the real long tall thing.
Yeah.
The Trump monument.
The Trump monument. Yeah. Forget Washington. Come on, he's a long time ago. The Trump Memorial. Just have him sitting up on a chair. Replace all of Rushmore with different versions of him.
Different poses.
Just different poses. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But that's just make it all happen.
Because everything to them is imagery.
Yeah. Right.
That's all it is.
It really is.
It's imagery across the board.
It is.
And it was funny because we started out by talking about the comment on all the Democrats now coming back to Texas. It's all imagery.
Yeah. It's imagery.
Everything they said they didn't mean.
We're
going to stay here until we defend democracy. We're not going to go back. Yeah, you are. Shut up. You're coming back. You're back now.
And finally, we'll rename the nation's capital to Trump, D.C.
866-90 Red Eye.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Did you see Susan Rice's comment? That, jeez. That this isn't surprising given the strange nature of the spell Putin seems to have over Trump.
Oh, my God.
This is the woman who lied to the American public about Benghazi.
Yep. I mean, they cannot.
We'll have the audio coming up on the top of the hour.
They just cannot at this point. They look at this and they can't figure it out at all. You've got to make this look like something it's not. So far, diplomacy's going well, and they hate that for Donald Trump. They hate it.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
This morning, as always. Getting back to getting back to the summit.
Yeah.
If Friday was a summit, this was a bigger summit, wasn't it?
I would think so. Yeah.
This is interesting. You know, the critics of Trump right now are saying, well, there's no ceasefire, therefore Trump crumbled. Well, I don't believe so. You know, after Friday was Zelensky who said Putin wouldn't agree to a ceasefire, and I think at that point Trump said, fine, we're going to get a peace deal done right now. Mm-hmm. There's a sense of urgency. If you do a ceasefire, is there a sense of urgency to get everybody from Europe over here right now?
No.
Within a day or within 2 days? Boom. No. I think they want a peace deal done. I think they or they want a peace deal on the table, and then if Putin doesn't agree to it, sanctions.
Right. Let's get straight to it.
I think major sanctions are coming.
Right.
So I view it as the opposite of what they're saying, because in negotiations, again, what your parameters are changes all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think they went in the meeting and Putin said, that's what Zelensky said. CNN reported it. Zelensky said, Russia is complicating things because they don't want a ceasefire.
Right.
And so fine, no ceasefire. We go straight to the peace plan. We'll get it done. You know, we're in agreement now, and now we're going to get the three to meet. We've got the basic parameters down. We want to get this thing done now.
Yep, this is because...
By the way, it also justifies Europe, and right now, it also justifies in the mind of the world. Well, I don't know, maybe not in the mind of the world. It justifies the position that you arm Ukraine even more if Putin doesn't wish to do it. If you've got everybody on board and the parameters are set and they don't want to negotiate, then was never a reason for the ceasefire to begin with.
Right. If it was never going to be a deal, then the ceasefire means nothing.
Right. Then you put the sanctions on. Don't delay it. But here's Anderson Cooper and Susan Rice. Remember, Susan Rice, who lied to the American public about Benghazi over and over and over and over again. Here we go. Listen to this.
It is remarkable to me that on Thursday night, on the eve of Friday's summit, President Trump very clearly said that there would be significant consequences if there was not, if an end to the war didn't come out of this summit. He's completely backed off that. I mean, that's as if that didn't happen. And even the very idea that there has to be a ceasefire, which is something he has spoken to repeatedly in the past, also seems to have disappeared.
This is very concerning, if not surprising. President Trump has said for weeks, if not longer, that a ceasefire is absolutely necessary. The killing has to stop. He put the onus on both parties to agree. The Ukrainians agreed immediately. The Russians never did. He gets to Alaska, having said as recently as, the plane ride to Alaska, that he would be very upset if there were no ceasefire and that there would be severe consequences, as you said. And he melted like ice in the Alaska sun as soon as he met with Putin. Putin obviously wants to keep fighting. He wants to press his military advantage, and he wants to kill as many Ukrainians as possible. And by Trump agreeing that a ceasefire is not a necessary first step and precondition, he's allowing the killing to continue and Putin to have his way. So this is not surprising, as I said, given the strange nature of the spell that Putin seems to have over Trump.
Do you agree?
No. No. What I heard was, dang it, I can't believe that this actually could work. This might work. And they need you to believe, again, that the Russian, keep in mind, she was a critical part of the Russian hoax.
Mm-hmm.
A critical part. On her way out the door, almost literally on her way out the door, January 20th of 2017, hours before President Trump was sworn in for the first time. She wrote that now infamous email to herself because she wanted that archived and repeated that. In that meeting in January, Obama said, by the book, by the book, by the book. Hey, everybody, he insisted, by the book, by the book. I'm like, well, you're just being weird about it because, of course, it's implied that everything is by the book. Why did you feel compelled to write this email to yourself, or did somebody else compel you to do that? And she was a very key part of that whole thing. And it's falling out now. And everything here, right now, the process is working. And by that, I mean, you got people to the table. We don't have a result, so it's not working to that extent, of course. But you've got people, as you bring up, Gary, when you bring European leaders in, this isn't a small thing. What happened yesterday is much different even than the last meeting with Zelensky, even when you set the tone aside. The issue that they had with the tone last time, obviously, all right, that went south quickly. That didn't work very well, but, Zelensky did what he did, and so he has to own that. Now you've got everybody at the table. Look at the difference of where it is. And people like Susan Rice can't handle that, especially knowing that their entire Russian hoax thing is coming to the surface. It's just boom, boom, boom. Day after day, we're learning more and more about what she was a part of, and she hates the fact. Because here's another thing, too. Her side, the left, they, I'm team Ukraine. Ukraine strong. I've got the Ukrainian flag emoji on my social media. I'm a hero. And Trump is actually doing something about it. And we'll see where it goes. And for him, I believe, I don't know what he thinks, but he probably, I have indications that he thinks like we do on this. This isn't just about Ukraine. This is about keeping Vladimir Putin in check. This is about the rest of the world, and it's also about the rest of the world standing up on their own 2 feet.
And just remember, back in, was it 2012, Susan Rice lied to the American public over and over again about why the attack happened at the consulate in Benghazi.
Right.
That got Americans killed.
They said it was a YouTube video. Remember that?
Right. They said it was a response to a anti-Islam YouTube video, which is a complete falsehood. And then she actually said afterwards, well, I said that because the intelligence told me, and the intelligence didn't tell her that. She lied across the board.
Right.
And Americans were killed, and she was lying to the American public about it because Obama wanted to win the election, and he kept saying that al-Qaeda had been defeated.
Right. Yep.
And so
that entire thing, that entire equation, again, she was a big part of that.
Yep.
She's got a history of lying, and these aren't small lies.
No, they're not.
These are major, major world events. The Russian hoax, Benghazi, both included, and and we think about.
And within hours after, we know that the White House knew. Remember, we went through every single point of it. The generals that went in at that point, Obama knew the night that it happened that it was a pre-planned attack.
Right.
And they, over a period of days, concocted a lie for her to go on the Sunday morning news shows.
They knew the risk going in. The Ambassador Stevens was sent there ahead of Hillary Clinton was going to visit. And so this would be about, weeks ahead of her visit. Ambassador Stevens was well loved by the locals, so they sent him in to do the handshaking and everything else. But they knew the risk of putting Ambassador Stevens, also Sean Smith, who worked there for him directly. Those two both passed in that attack. But they knew the risk. I think Ambassador Stevens did too. But he was, by most accounts, a true public servant and wanted to do the work and was well received by the people there. And that is, over and over again, lying. Hillary Clinton lying to Sean Smith's mother. And when Sean Smith's mom came out, basically accused her of lying, accused his own mother of lying. And I thought to myself, what kind of people do that? Well, we know what kind of people do that. We know the kind of people they are. And Susan Rice cannot stand that their agenda is found out time and time again. Their agenda is extremely dangerous. And that the truth comes out, and you see also that the work so far of President Trump is being done in earnest. They can't stand that.
Yeah, so from what I can see, and it's funny because CNN reported it over the weekend that Zelensky said Russia's holding this up because Putin refused a ceasefire.
Mm-hmm.
And he's refused it a number of times. He refused it again. And I think that's what sent Trump, fine. You don't want a ceasefire? We go directly to the peace. We bring everybody in.
Yep.
We get this to the point of where we've done everything we possibly can. You don't want a ceasefire? Let's move directly to it. There's a sense of urgency.
Yep.
You've seen it now. That's what I suspect happened because of what Zelensky said. He doesn't want to. Putin doesn't want a ceasefire.
Right.
Well, then fine. You could put the sanctions on then, or you could say a little bit more rope, bring everybody in, get everybody on board. Then you do exactly like you did with Iran. Because remember, a couple of days before they went in, remember how he was complimenting Iran? Well, they really don't want, I'm sure they really don't want war and this and that and this and that. And the Democrats were just, see, he's weak. And then he went in and did it.
Yeah.
He's wrong.
Right.
I mean, it was like, it's just, they're so reactionary to it where, again, when it comes to foreign things, this is a president that I will give the benefit of the doubt on based on his history of what he has done and what he has done in the last couple of days. But they've got to go through every single little minutia of everything. Things changed.
Yep.
You negotiate, things change completely.
Right.
Something's on the table today. Oh, thought we were going to do it. Nope, we're going to move in this direction.
Yep.
We're going to get this thing to the point of everybody on our side is in agreement. We're united with Europe. We're not United States and Europe are united. Zelensky's with us completely. Putin won't do it.
Yep.
everybody sanctions now. If they don't do it, then you can criticize them. If you get to the end of the end game of it and then nothing happens, then you can say, all right, Putin now knows that you're weak.
Right.
You can't say that right now.
Nope.
They called that meeting. You think about the sense of urgency to get those European Union leaders over here that quickly.
Right. I did not think that was going to happen on a Monday. There was no. I thought, well, we're talking weeks, or to get all that.
Well, remember who said it? Who said it yesterday? Who was it? We played the audio cut yesterday. Well, only bringing these leaders over here so he can humiliate Zelensky in front of them. Oh, that was Margaret Brennan.
Oh, okay.
And Rubio's like, what are you talking about?
Right, yeah.
We invited them to come over so we can get this thing done.
Right.
And so every little bit of the minutia, which is why, though, we have said, with Trump before, that if you say something, you'll be criticized. But then again, when they criticize him, he ends up winning on these things. So many of the things he ends up winning.
Exactly.
And they look foolish.
Right.
But they don't care. They're political activists.
Right. They're children. They can't make a point. They certainly can't wrap their brain around the fact that this actually might work.
866-98 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Most owner-operators leased to larger carriers are paid on a per-mile basis or a percentage of revenue per load. The per-mile basis is most prevalent among larger fleets. Percentage at smaller. Pay per mile tends to dominate discussions about pay just because it's easier to measure, and pay per mile often is wrongly used as the deciding factor in leasing to a carrier. While pay per mile can be a vital factor, it's not a cure for every ill, nor does it mean a big settlement check is coming an owner-operator's way. Why? Because pay per mile always must be considered in balance with gross revenue as well as total costs. Gross revenue can include flat mileage pay that varies by length of haul, percentage revenue pay, and more. Most importantly, though, for every revenue dollar generated, only part of that dollar is profit. But for every extra dollar of cost saved, the entire dollar contributes to profit. Knowing and understanding your cost to operate is fundamental to understanding the true value of any pay package. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. We all saw, we all heard Susan Rice, talking about Trump, cozying up to Putin and the spell that Putin has on him. You had the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte on Fox News last night. He addressed what Susan Rice was talking about. Here we go.
Let me first say that this was a very successful day. And I agree with you that President Trump is a pragmatic peacemaker, as you, I think, said. What he did this year, breaking the deadlock, starting the conversation with Putin, but also putting pressure. We have had the NATO summit, the 5%, which was a big foreign policy success of President Trump. And then he decided to, again, have lethal weapons go into Ukraine, paid for by the Europeans. And he put secondary sanctions, tariffs on India. So he's putting pressure, but he is also looking for ways to solve this, to bring this war to an end. So today was very successful. We discussed the security guarantees, and we will work on those over the coming days and then have another meeting virtually with this group of leaders and the president. And then we will work towards this trilateral. And he was able, in a conversation with President Putin, to have Putin to agree to first a meeting between Putin and Zelensky. So they will now discuss where that meeting will take place in the run-up to the trilateral. So all in all, a very successful day.
There you go.
Yeah.
UN Secretary, should be the UN Secretary General. The NATO Secretary General. Here's French President Macron last night. Here we go.
The discussion addressed the possibility that a result would not be achieved, the possibility that Russia would not sincerely want to engage in such a process, and, at that point, he signaled his willingness and readiness to impose what he calls primary and secondary tariffs, but which we, in fact, call sanctions. You have an American president, European presidents, and a Ukrainian president all wanting peace. For my part, I have the greatest doubts about the reality of a desire for peace on the part of the Russian president, because as long as he thinks he can win through war, he will do so, and his ultimate objective is to take as much as territory as possible, to weaken Ukraine, and to have a Ukraine that is not viable alone, or is within the Russian fold.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. Man, it's just there's so much going on. Really is.
Yeah, it is. Busy.
And I'm just trying to scan. Okay. Let's go to this. Let's just move around a little bit here. Some other topics here because they're back. The Democrats, the Texas Democrats, have left the number one gerrymandered state in the nation, Illinois, and come back to Texas. Mm-hmm. This is Texas House Speaker Dustin Burrows. And in here he says he's going to charge back the Democrats for every fine of every dollar incurred by them being gone, that they're going to have to pay it.
Oh, wow.
Here's
all right.
Here's what happened yesterday in the Texas House.
But those who have refused to make quorum, I'm sure you're missing home. Do not think you have permission to return to Texas and enjoy a peaceful weekend before finally showing up to work. DPS will remain active and civil arrest warrants will be reissued. If you are located, you will be compelled to this chamber. If that happens, I will ask those members who've gone home for the weekend to return immediately. You will be given a 6-hour notice window to return, so do not travel beyond that. I've also asked Chairman Guerin and the House Administration Committee to begin calculating every fine of every dollar of expense the state has incurred as a direct result of this quorum break. Those costs will not be borne by the Texas taxpayers. They will be paid back by absent members as provided for in our House rules. Showing up is half the battle, and those present today will have a say in what we accomplish over the next 30 days, or hopefully fewer.
All right, that was last Friday, just to make sure. People,
right.
That was actually last Friday. So,
yeah.
But still, it's just
got to pay. Time to pay up.
And what Rich Lowry wrote yesterday in National Review, I just got to. We read it at the beginning of the show because it was just so funny, but got to read it again. It was inevitable that fugitive Democrats are going back to Texas, and Republicans will get their quorum for redistricting. The way these things always work is that Democrats leave their state in a showy protest, get lots of media attention, which distracts them temporarily from the fact that they're living in a Holiday Inn Express somewhere.
Right.
And then the attention fades, and they are still living in a Holiday Inn Express away from their family and their jobs. And then, quote, defending democracy, end of quote, doesn't look so much fun anymore.
By the way, that would be, I'm guessing he means their private sector jobs. I'm sure he does, because people may not know our state legislators are part-time. It's a part-time legislature. They all have full-time gigs.
Whenever I'll tell somebody new in New York, and when I'm up there visiting, they're like, no, they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I go, no, they're part-time. They have other jobs.
Right.
And, well, then how do they meet? I go, well, they only meet for a couple of months every 2 years.
Right.
It's like, stop it. No, they don't. That's a huge state. I go, no, they meet. Now, they'll still do work. It doesn't mean that they don't do work. You know, they have, for example, members of the legislature that are part of groups if something is needed in an emergency.
Right.
But no, they only meet once every 2 years.
Yep.
For a couple of months. What is it? 2 months, maybe 3 months?
Yeah. It's about
2,
that.
3 months. Yeah.
It's about 3 months,
That's it.
I think.
You
Yeah.
tell that to people, they're like, well, you're Texas. You're one of the biggest states. What are you talking about?
Right.
No, they're part-time.
Right. And they have other jobs. They have, they have to make a living elsewhere. And, but he's absolutely right. Things that we have said about how they just love to put on the show. The left loves everything for the show.
Talking to a couple of people over the weekend when I was in New York, and it sort of mirrored the conversation that we have had, which everybody's talking about. How do Democrats come back? What do they do? And in the discussion, especially in New York, where Democrats are very strong, the question came up: what is one issue that they're winning on? One major issue I'll say major issue that that the public cares about.
Yeah.
What major issue? Okay. Let me rephrase that again. The question was, what major issue can the Democrats promote that will be the issue that kickstarts them back to being able to challenge the Republicans? That was the question. And I don't know.
Yeah.
What
I don't
is
know
that?
what that would be.
What is that issue where people say, okay, I think I'll consider Democrats again?
I mean, if the economy went south, but,
Right. Well, we've always said that's a given.
Yeah,
If the economy goes south, it does. You can do everything else right. If the economy goes south, you can lose.
You're in trouble. Yeah. Yeah. But that isn't, I always ask the question, what are the Democrats promoting that they'll do for you? Aside from free stuff, Mamdani right now is crushing it in the numbers in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
He's promising the world. And of course, it's not going to work. There's not enough money, and the money that is there from corporations and the rich people, they'll be leaving. You implement his policies, they're not going to stay. So there is, Trump calls it some of the issues 97-3, but where are they? What's their 80-20 issue that they own? There isn't one. They don't have one.
No.
They really don't have one, and haven't had one, I don't know, for a long, long time. And the party is just being fragmented more and more and more and more and more and more. Because you're creating more oppressors, because you're creating more victimhoods each day. We've broken this down with identity politics. This is how you have to do it. Well, that's the opposite of bringing people together. You can't win long term with that strategy. You just can't. It was inevitable that they were going to get to a point where somebody like Joe Biden could actually win the election, be as bad as he was, not really be able to get the job done, hand the baton to his Veep in terms of the campaign, but they still wouldn't remove him from office. You think about that kind of madness that goes on with their base. What does it tell you? They don't care. They don't give a damn about, we were talking about in the break, I forget how we phrased it, but you said something like, they can't appreciate, they don't like anything that is good. They don't like anything that is working. They really don't, they don't like peace. I think that's what you brought up
when you look at it, they are the party of open borders, pro criminal.
Yep.
I mean, they are the party that creates problems. We said this during the Biden administration, that it's the first presidential administration in my life that has purposely created the problems. It's not that they didn't have the ability to solve the problems that come up in every society. They actually created the problems knowing they were creating the problems.
Yeah.
The border was calculated.
Yep.
All calculated. There was no.
Biden in 2020 promoted, come back, we want you here.
Yeah.
And if you were deported even, come back. And then the international bridge scenario with thousands and thousands and thousands there, the common thread in the answers of to the question, why are you here, was because Biden told us to come here.
Yeah. And so the inflation, the economy, they wanted to do bad.
Oh, yeah.
They were warned by Obama people. Don't do this. You're going to get massive inflation. We don't care. Yeah, let's do it.
Well,
and then when we got the inflation is good because then people will spend more money.
Yeah.
We're not making that up.
Yeah. And then it was transitory. And then it was, non-existent. And it was
Trump's fault.
It was Trump's fault. It was everything, anything and everything. I mean, they did. They went back and they said, well, because of the things the Trump administration did. And it's like, no. But they need that kind of chaos. They need those huge problems to usher in more big government. Because what is the answer? The answer is always, well, we got to help the people.
Well, think about the censorship. Think about COVID and the lies and how they didn't care.
No.
Everything was just insanity. And I think it was, you remember, when you got into 2021, and that's where Peggy Noonan said everything seems broken. 2021, 2022, remember that piece she wrote?
Yep.
Everything seems, because it is broken, because they're purposely breaking things. That's what they did. They broke things.
Yep.
And so it wasn't, and for me, that was the first time I have seen that in my half century of covering and paying attention to politics. I'd never seen that before. So someone, a president and a party saying, we're going to break things.
Right.
That's what we want to do.
Right.
It's, and it was so blunt in doing so. And crime, everything in crime, no cash bail. And,
oh, yeah.
Letting people on the streets, sanctuary cities. We saw that in some areas, it's a plurality. In some areas, a majority of Democrats want criminal, illegal immigrants out on the streets. How do we know? The liberal polling tells us that.
Yep.
And so, I think, for example, I go, what's the story besides what's going to go on, with Ukraine going to be the rest of the week? Are they going to go back to the crime in New York City? The D.C. Police Union came out yesterday with the stats of week number 1. We'll have that coming up following the top of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fascinating. And the Democrats just doubling down. You saw the Loudon School District, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's a girl who says I'm a guy, goes into the locker room. 2 boys in that locker room are upset and make note of it. They're suspended. It's going to stay on their permanent record. No, it's not. And it's going to be, the Attorney General's already on it, of the United States.
Yeah.
And charged with sexual harassment. I mean, just a bunch of different stuff for objecting to a woman in their locker room. These people are crazy.
This is what they're fighting for.
Yep. 866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up on the top of the hour, the statistics are in. The crime stats are in from D.C. after week number 1, coming from the D.C. Police Union. We will get to that. The DNC, here's a headline, DNC wildly trails the RNC as in fundraising. Donor, I love this here. In June, one DNC member called Ken Martin's leadership weak, called him weak and whiny.
Really?
And they're saying there's no direction from the DNC. There's no direction from the Ds.
Exactly.
We'll get to that and more.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, so as we look here a week after Trump officially became Hitler and took over Washington, D.C., okay, we're not using Hitler anymore, are we? Satan.
Yeah.
Since Trump became Satan and took over Washington, D.C., let's see the horrible oppression of what has happened. This from the D.C. Police Union.
All right.
D.C. crime since the announcement of the federal control versus the 7 days prior.
Okay.
Robbery, down 46%.
Wow.
Armed robbery, down 6%.
Okay.
Carjacking, and this means it would be safe for Biden to drive a car. It wouldn't be safe for anybody else.
Well, yeah. Probably not advisable, but.
Yeah, we just go back to 92.
Exactly.
Carjacking, down 83%. Car theft, down 21%. Violent crime, down 22%. Property crime, down 6%. All crimes, down 8%. Wow. While federal assistance gives us a boost, this is again from the D.C. Police Union, we must repeal the misguided Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Act in order to make these changes permanent. Well, it was interesting because part of the criticism from Democrats was, well, after Trump's gone, then the crime will be back again. That that's the point. If Trump loses, if the Republicans lose the next election for president in 2028 and Democrats take over, well, then the border will be open again.
Yeah.
It's because that's the difference between the two political parties.
Right.
Duh.
Right. There has to be the will to keep the enforcement as it is now. And that has to be done on many levels, starting with a change locally. But look, the left is afraid of owning it. I think that's the other thing, too. It's kind of like the Susan Rice thing on the Ukraine-Russia deal. They can't stand the fact that it's working. When it comes to D.C., they can't stand the fact that this is actually working. They don't want stronger law enforcement. They've been fighting against that. They've been fighting in the opposite direction for years. Defund the police, defund ICE, abolish ICE. And this, if it's working, defeats their agenda. And they can't do anything about it. Except let it go back to what they'll do is like they did with inflation or anything else. It'll just be Trump's fault when it goes back to the normal, and when if a Democrat gets into office and things start changing again back to what Democrats do, and they're just going to blame it on Trump. Well, the American people are smart enough to see the contrast in the two policies, whatever the scenario is. Whether it's the border, whether it's the D.C. or D.C. situation or law enforcement in general, the American people know. The American people are voting with their feet. We talked about what'd you say? It was by the 2030 census that because of the migration,
another 10 Republicans.
Yeah.
And that's got nothing to do with Texas,
right?
And what we're doing right now. That's just
right.
The natural progression of where the migration is going.
Well, what do we find? Remember I think it was the year Beto challenged Ted Cruz for the Senate seat in Texas. I think it was after that election they found that some of the people that moved here from other states voted more red than people from Texas.
Yeah.
And by the way, to our local peeps who have been here, come on, get it together. But we always joke about, well, we don't want liberals coming in and making Texas blue. But if you look at or Florida or whatever, if you look at that migration, why are people leaving? Liberals love to go to Austin and take advantage of low taxes and everything else, but also be in a very liberal environment, right? It's kind of that Austin bubble, like a lot of the major metro areas too. Houston is right there. But when people come here from other states, it's almost like it's often, and it's not always the case, nothing applies to all, but it's often the case that they come here because they're looking to get away from such policy. It's almost like immigrants who come here from another country legally, and they say, don't do what we did. Don't be communist. Don't do these things. And they have an appreciation for the way that things are being run. And that's, I think, in the state migration, I think that applies to a number of people. And I can't tell you how they're going to vote, but that's an interesting take on it. 10 more seats by the 2030 census. But then you look at the other data that we brought, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, that showed how much revenue these areas are losing because people are leaving. These high earners are leaving, And when you have low and middle income people, even if they're moving there, they can't replace that high income that's left, that's gone. That revenue is just gone. And when that revenue declines and declines, I don't know where the shift is. I don't know at what point people finally wake up and go, okay, clean slate. Let's get the Republican. It's not going to be in my lifetime. Let's let the Republican Party run, this blue state. It's not going to happen in my lifetime. Of course, then again, other weirder things have happened.
I'll get to that in a moment. The RNC and fundraising with the DNC because that hits those points. Just want to get back to the DC crime thing though, and the statistics put out by the union. Another Byron York had a column in the Washington Examiner. DC crime and the Trump is bad, but he's right effect. Because this is where we are now.
Yeah.
Because initially they came out. It's like something interesting is going on the continuing controversy over Donald Trump's anti-crime initiative in Washington, D.C. When Trump first announced the move, saying crime in the district is out of control, many Democrats and their media allies denounced it with the argument that crime is in fact falling in the district and perhaps even the lowest point in 30 years. Now, after a week of heightened law enforcement and rising arrests, and we just gave you the stats there, which came out yesterday also, more and more voices are conceding that Trump is right and crime is really a serious problem and an ongoing problem in the district. Some of the voices are still opposed to Trump, but they still now are admitting there's a big problem. Same with the border. Well, yeah, the border's better, but I hate Trump.
Yeah.
And because Trump did it, then it's wrong.
Right.
A recent Wall Street Journal report featuring Ebony Payne, a neighborhood commissioner in Northeast Washington, who spends her evenings reviewing messages from neighbors, reporting assaults, smashed car windows, break-in shootings, teenagers threatening children or even dogs. Payne told the Wall Street Journal that she and her neighbors are frustrated by the city's inability to respond to out-of-control crime, and that when they heard of Trump's initiative, some of the residents' first reaction was relief. Payne was so relieved that she had been disappointed that she had not seen a greater police presence in her neighborhood. We all wanted something to be done. It's just really unfortunate that we are in this situation where there's a sledgehammer on our city because we could not handle the crime problem. And it brings up Maureen Dowd, who was born and raised in Washington, the daughter of a D.C. police officer. In a recent column, said city officials and many liberal residents are outraged about Trump's painting D.C. as a hellscape and flooding the zone with law enforcement and troops. A moment later, she added, it is also true that many D.C. residents are secretly glad to see more uniforms. No matter what the statistics say, they don't feel safe. Dowd herself doesn't. She carries pepper spray and said, because I feel more wary walking around the city, it's disturbing to ask someone to unlock the Claritin at CVS because the police didn't lock up the smash and grabbers. Wow. The column includes a conversation with former prosecutor Eli Honig, who now is CNN legal analyst. What he told Dowd is a classic of a type of commentary you might call Trump is bad, but he's right. Yes, Trump is hypocritical and scattershot on public policy. And yes, he's likely doing this as a flex, but he happens to be within the law here, and he happens to be right. Now that's everybody now. That you same thing now with Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah.
From his critics.
Right.
Well, the only reason he's doing this is because it's the motivation. He wants a prize.
Yeah, right. Who uses a red carpet anyway?
Right. But he wants that Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's the only thing he's doing.
But he's doing the right thing. Doesn't matter. You know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of the guy that called the one time when we were talking about Obamacare. And we were talking about the private healthcare system versus nationalized healthcare that's been when it's been institutionalized in the country for a significant period of time. And we had convinced the guy at the end of the conversation that private healthcare was better.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't matter that private health care was better.
Right.
You guys have convinced me it's better, but I'm still against it. How? If it delivers a better product,
yeah,
how can you be against it? Because nobody should make a profit on health care.
Right. Not a dime.
Right. So it didn't matter that in a free market system, he believes you get better service for the money that you spend.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. I get better health care, and it's cheaper, but it doesn't matter because no one should make a profit on it. So the results didn't matter.
No, and that's the thing is that you're not going to sell it, to the left. You'll never be able to sell it to them. On the DC thing, they could have just remained quiet about it. The more noise you make, the more attention you draw for other people to make the comparison, right? To, oh, wait a minute, what are they saying about this? Oh, okay, then what's actually happening? And, I'm going to have to watch that to see how it ends up. Now we get some initial data. It's only 1 week, but, it shows you from the union, the police union, what's going on and how effective it has been so far. Well, if you're the Democrats, you can't help yourself but be the activist at every turn. Ukraine and Russia's too big to ignore, and the D.C. thing is pretty big too. But when you go full-on activist on it, you're not going to win because the American people, more specifically here, the people of D.C., want greater law enforcement. Everybody wants to feel safe in their hometown. Everybody wants that. During the defund the police movement, the polls showed that people were going, oh, yeah, they should defund those police over there, but not in my town. That's what the polls showed. Oh, what about your police? No. Oh, they're fine. Don't defund my police because we want that security, because we understand the very basics of a nation of laws, which is backed by enforcement. And you're going to have issues, and you handle those issues case by case. Full stop. There is something about the left, though, when you go in, and they have been in activist mode, you have to be in activist mode every day. So you have to set the world on fire about everything, and you're wrong about everything. You're not going to win everything. The transgender, the liberal transgender movement, they're losing this. Law enforcement, they're losing this. We'll see what happens between Russia and Ukraine, but diplomatically, you cannot look at President Trump, especially in this term, in this second term, not just Russia and Ukraine, but the Middle East. He bombed Iran. Now, that's not necessarily diplomacy, but he gave them a chance at diplomacy. There was a shot. He didn't just hand everything to them like Barack Obama did in that botched Iranian
Isn't
deal.
that diplomacy by force?
I guess it is. Yeah. I guess it will send them. Well, it is. It's
yeah, but you're making that case.
It's post-diplomatic consequences as a part of that diplomacy to begin with, right?
Wait a minute, though. I mean, he make it peace around the world, but that's just so he can open up the concentration camps and people will start disappearing in this country. Don't you realize that? Don't you realize that? How come you don't see that? Why don't you see that?
You know how
I'm not going to let you talk at all here.
You know how?
No, stop talking. Don't say anything at all because I'm right here.
You know what? Some of our listeners may be right. You are a liberal, aren't you?
I just had to constantly talk over you.
By the way, I thought he was going to open golf resorts. I didn't know it was going to be concentration camps. They go. That's the thing. They go from one extreme to the other. So he just wants to make money off all this.
Well, yeah, because you'll work on the golf course.
That's right.
You just like in when I a long time ago when I lived near Eglin Air Force Base. And it was, they had the what do you call it? The soft prison.
Oh,
there.
Right.
And this goes back
minimum
about
security.
minimum security. And they used
Yeah.
to have some of the minimum security people actually working on the golf course at Eggland back 40 years ago. Don't know if it still happens.
Interesting.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We're Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning.
Hey,
You know-
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I do find it a bit of a little bit of justice that while Trump was getting things accomplished, again the process, making progress in the process diplomatically with Ukraine and Russia yesterday. It was announced that it's the official end of MSNBC later this year.
Oh, that's right. Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk more
We'll
about
talk
it
more
coming
about
up.
that, but those two
Yeah.
happening on the same day, I was like, that's kind of a little bit. I mean, they're not going away; they're changing the name.
MS Now.
Yeah, MS Now. My Source Now. That's what that stands for. Really, because it used to stand for Microsoft NBC. That's where it began. Remember that? MSNBC.
I just thought they were becoming a gang. MS
Yeah.
Now instead of MS-13. Oh,
liberal gang.
I just thought they were saying, to hell with being political activists. We're going to become a violent gang. We're already throwing out the violent rhetoric.
What does that tattoo look like?
MS Now.
Hey, he's got a tattoo of Rachel Maddow on his shoulder blade. He's MS Now. I think he's MS Now. Oh no, he's got Colbert written on his hand. He's definitely MS Now.
My gosh, is that a Rachel Maddow tattoo? No, it's Jim Acosta. Idiot. That's
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So here is when the exciting news, here I got an audio cut. Here is when the exciting news was announced yesterday on MSNBC.
We have breaking news as it pertains to our network. This morning, a new name for the network by the end of the year. We will become MS Now, which...
If you can't handle the truth, if you can't handle it, and he was saying, well, it's going to be great because now we're going from a big corporation, we're going to be entrepreneurial here. No, you're not.
No.
Everybody there rejects capitalism. Stop it.
Let's face it. Look, that part of the spinoff company was just losing cash. It's sorry, but it's a dying business model for them. And think about that. MSNBC has greater ratings than any other liberal news network, but CNN is just like barely around now. I mean, I don't know how CNN stays on the air, And, Fox News gets millions of viewers, and they're doing pretty good. But people are cutting the cable. For one thing, overall, people are cutting the cable. So you have to come up with a new plan. Fox is launching their own app that gets you Fox News, the broadcast network, and I don't know if Fox Business is part of that, but I think it is. But it's like $19.99 a month.
What is the one I have on the antenna or on the streaming?
Fox News Now.
What?
Yeah,
I mean, their sets are horrible.
Yeah,
it's almost as if they went, all right, we're going to be streaming. Let's make it like we're doing it from Wayne and Garth's basement.
Well, there's I was going to say there's a set of mops in the corner if you look closely. It's what it is. you have these reporters that are basically, they kind of populate that. But if you look at it, they're not getting many people watching it at any given time. And it's really not a real offering. And I don't know what the model is for, an all-in-one app either. I don't know what the demand is, I should say. Remember CNN Plus? They downgraded to CNN minus.
Well, I remember when they came out with it, and you and I said this can't last. How long did it last?
4 minutes.
Seriously, was it 2 weeks?
I think it was. It was
less than a month.
I think it was inside a month. It was. and the thing is because you and I are always interested in, what the business model is of anything. But especially in the consumption of media, because it's what we do. But we also analyze what the media is doing and how they cover things, and the stories and the issues. But it's intriguing to see because you've got a fragmented audience. They go anywhere and everywhere, and they're not sitting in front of TVs for long periods of time. And even then they're streaming. So you want something that, you can build everything. This is what the streamers are trying to grasp.
Are you ready? 30 daes.
30 days. There you go.
It went from March 29th of 2022 to April 28th, 2022. Yeah. I'm sure you remember how furious Chris Wallace was.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, too, when he was going to say, and we're going to do more of the news. We're going to do,
we're going to do
features.
Other topics.
Exactly. And we'll be interviewing why people love Lady Gaga.
He's got his own podcast now called Who's Talking to Chris Wallace? They should rename it Who Would Talk to Chris Wallace?
He's doing really?
Yeah, he's doing a pod. I just saw that in a story. Okay. There was a quote. Somebody said something on a podcast, and they said it was on the Who's Talking to Chris Wallace? And it should be Who Would Want to Talk to Chris Wallace?
Well, here it is from the New York Post. The head-scratching acronym My Source News Opinion World was mercilessly mocked. Social media users quipped that the Ratings Challenge Network new name stands for Majorly Skewed News Overly Woke. Most surely no one watching. Others simply started calling it BS Now. Wow.
Or MS Nah.
I like that, MS Nah. They were forced to change its name and create a new logo, which features a red and white striped flag on a blue background as part of the upcoming spinoff by parent company Comcast to a new publicly traded company called Versant.
Yeah.
The spinoff, slated for the end of the year, strips away the cable channel's ties to NBC and the peacock symbol.
All right.
Well, I'm sure there'll be some interesting things. First off, business model. Do you pay her $20 million a year to work one day? Rachel Maddow?
Is the network worth $20 million itself? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because ultimately, what I think they're trying to do here is, have this own separate entity that could be up for sale. Thing is, who's going to want to buy it? What do you do with it? Again, you got to have eyes in front of those, shows, however they're going to be delivered, streaming or on TV. And when people move away from the TV as much, that's the thing too. Years ago, Comcast, people may not know this, Comcast was trying to buy Disney at one point. And the reason they were is they wanted their content for back then called video on demand. We call it streaming today. But and then Disney kind of took note and went, oh, wait a minute, we should do that. And they started moving toward the Disney Plus thing. And then you have, the Max or HBO Max or whatever they're calling it tomorrow. It's, and then, we're going to put this in, we're going to put that. We're taking over Hulu, or we're doing this. And it's why Disney moved to buy Marvel and the Muppets and the Star Wars franchise. They wanted as much content, but what did that ultimately get them? That's the question. Is you paid all of this money for this content, but in a world that has endless streaming anywhere and everywhere, including, I'm going to watch this guy build his own house on YouTube. It's you're talking about, think about every channel on YouTube. I don't know how many there are. I've never actually Googled that. I'll have to Google that. But that's its own network. And let's just say everyone that has at least 5,000 views or more per video, right? So you're competing with all of that, every other media group. You're competing with all this. It's so fragmented. I don't know what the business model looks like or how to make it work. That's way above my pay grade. It's just because it's becoming more fragmented by the second.
Yeah, I remember how much fun we had when MSNBC came out with their new motto, "Bend over." Remember that?
Yeah. Lean forward.
Oh, I'm sorry, lean forward. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, lean forward. Okay. That was. Thanks for correcting me on that one.
Yeah.
I was. Remember, I told you that I met that Minnesota farmer at the hotel in Buffalo over this past weekend. And you know what he watches all the time? YouTube. And but the best part was he did not know you could pay not to have commercials.
Oh.
So he's watching the commercials.
Oh.
Think about that. I mean, that's impressive. He didn't know that you could pay $13 a month not to have the commercials. Now, for me, not only for concerts and things like that, but work stuff. Because even on my when I'm doing show prep, I've got it on YouTube, and there's a ton of different news services there, and Forbes is great.
Yeah,
Forbes is a great news service.
Right.
But you don't want commercials because you're trying to watch as much as you possibly can.
Right.
So there's a business aspect to it. And then if you want to play stuff from YouTube on the air, whatever, audio, you don't want the commercials cutting in.
Right.
So for us, it's worth it. But even if I didn't need it for work, I'd get it. Think about that. I won't pay for content, but I'll pay not to have a commercial. That's how things are changing in this entire business. But he did the same thing, and he was talking about the shows he was watching. I said, I spent, 6 months watching a guy build a pond. Not 6 months, but I mean, that's how long it took him. I don't know, maybe it was 6-9 months to build the pond from the beginning to the end. And go, oh, Jesus. You know the other thing that I watch? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm fascinated with it, but I watch it almost every single day. And it's this guy who gets up real early in the morning in Vegas.
Yeah.
I think it's, the channel is Raiders 1967. And all he does, when they were taking down the Tropicana, he was there every other day or every single day. Yeah. Sometimes he's there, 2-3 days in a row. Then if he goes, but he's there consistently where it's like, okay, they're taking it down today. Okay, where are they now? Where are they now? Where are they now? Now they're building the stadium, and he's there every day. So not only that, but he also, I think, alternates every other day now between that and seeing the Hard Rock construction.
Yeah.
And he goes through the minutia of the details. Here's what they're doing over here, and look what they got over here. And look at this truck over here. They must be putting this over here. And I'm watching this.
Yeah.
And I've been watching it now for over a year. But I'm fascinated. But he's up every morning early because it's too hot. He can't be out there at noon.
Yeah.
filming it. And he goes up
Right.
to like the casino next door, goes up to their parking ramp and shoots down. And I find demolition and just especially the beginning of how you build a foundation for a building, I find that just fascinating.
Right.
Because I always think about, hey, just set it on the ground, right? Now you got to drive pillars way down there.
So there's 115 million YouTube channels total. Wow. Fewer than 700,000 have 100,000 subscribers. About 3 million of those YouTube channels have over 10,000 subscribers. And so, you look at the difference, but still, if you think about it, let's say 618,955 YouTube channels have over 100,000 subscribers as of August of 2025. You're competing potentially with every one of those and every other source of streaming and media that's out there.
But what you're making the
and
case
podcasts
is
and
there's
all of it.
thousands upon thousands upon thousands of YouTube channels that have more listeners than CNN has watchers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because many of those channels, by the way, and I don't have the data in front of me, but many of the, Rick Beato talks about this, and he has over 5 million subscribers. Great follow on YouTube, by the way, Beato, Rick Beato. Very knowledgeable about music. But he has over 5 million subscribers, and the overwhelming majority of people that watch his videos, more than half, well over half, are not subscribed. So that's a ton of content that's out there that you're competing with if you're legacy media.
866-98-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We're Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Reading here from the New York Post, story about MSNBC changing to MS Now. The move comes despite NBC Universal executive Mark Lazarus, who will become the new CEO of Versant Company, assured rattled MSNBC staffers in January that the network would not change its name and logo, as many feared, after the spinoff was announced last November.
Well, they were no longer going to be a part of NBC, so
yeah, he assured them though that they weren't going to change their name.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know why you would do that,
right?
Because I think NBC came to the conclusion we don't want anything to do with them.
Right? They're not part of us anymore.
We're political activists, but they're nuts.
They're crazy.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, we're looking at this insanity, reading this from National Review and the Louden Times Mirror.
Yeah.
Here we go. The Loudon County Public Schools says its policy, this is from the headline here is quite biased here. Updated. Loudon County Public Schools tells Fed its trans student policy is legal. The Department of Education to cut funds anyway. That's because it's not legal.
No. No, it's not.
We want to update that Loudon Times Mirror. Evan Goodnow Jeez. Loudon County Public Schools says its policy allowing transgender students to choose which bathroom or locker room is that's policy allowing transgender students to choose which bathroom or locker room they use is legal, and the complying with the Trump administration's demand they scrap it would be discriminatory. But the Department of Education says it will make good on its threat to cut funding from the public school system and 4 other Northern Virginia school divisions for defying the order. Maddie Bannerman, Department of Education spokesperson, said the department will begin cutting funding to the school district and 4 other divisions. The U.S. Department of Education generously granted an extension for 5 Northern Virginia school districts to come into compliance with Title IX and follow federal law. Unfortunately, the additional time did not result in a fruitful outcome. The agency will commence administrative proceedings to effect the suspension or termination of federal financial assistance to these divisions. The Virginia districts will have to defend their embrace of the radical gender ideology over ensuring the safety of their students. Federal money primarily pays for school meals, special education, and additional support for Title I schools, which are defined as schools where 50% or more of the students are eligible for free or reduced lunch meals. About 20 of the 100 schools in the school division are Title I schools. This follows this story. The Loudon County Public Schools have suspended 2 boys who expressed discomfort with the presence of a female student in their locker room at Stonebridge High School. Now, listen to this insanity. They opened up, this is a funny thing, they opened up a Title IX investigation, which, God, I mean, it's just like, it's so stupid, Eric. We all know that when Title IX originated, it was passed into law by Congress. It was about protecting biological females. We all know it. Obama's the one that changed it. Wasn't Biden. It was Obama that changed it initially. Obama's Department of Justice and Department of Education.
Right.
They're the ones who changed it. Remember, the genius Obama also said when one of his last interviews when he was president of the United States, he said that even race is a social construct. Right. What a smart guy he is.
Smartest one in the room.
The Loudon County Public Schools opened a Title IX investigation into the boys after a female student filmed the boys in the men's locker room, saying they were uncomfortable with that girl using the facilities. So the girl, who claims she's transgender and identifies as a male, went into the locker room. The boys were upset. She's filming them. Okay?
All right.
From the article here, the transgender identifying female student is allowed to use the men's locker room in accordance with the district's controversial 80-40 policy, which allows students to use facilities that correspond with their gender identity, which is against Title IX, as we all know it. Now, their Title IX office, they try to use the same, that they change the law, and then they try to use the title of the law.
Yeah, okay.
Determined last week that the 2 boys committed, listen to this now, that the 2 boys committed sexual harassment. So sexual harassment is telling a woman to get out of your locker room.
Wow. And by the way, I don't know, but I'm guessing they wanted to bring this, they wanted to report this so that they couldn't be accused of harassment, right?
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to be shared because this could go south very quickly. We could be blamed for something we didn't do.
Right.
We don't think that this is a good idea.
Right.
And we don't feel comfortable in this situation. And by complaining about it, they were accused of sexual harassment.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Sexual harassment and sex-based discrimination. They each received 10-day suspensions and are not allowed to have contact with the girl who thinks she's a boy. The girl who recorded the boys received an in-school suspension, so she got an in-school suspension for violating the school policy that prohibits students from recording in locker rooms. So you can't record in a locker room, but you can go into the locker room and change and be naked before the opposite sex, and there's no problem with that.
Wow.
I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at the insanity. Of the logic of the Louden School District. Said Virginia Attorney General Jason Myers, I can't imagine how uncomfortable it would be to have a member of the opposite sex in the locker room where people were obviously changing clothes and then later on top of that recording it. Yes, though they're the victims in this, somehow they're being treated as the perpetrators. I think this is an example, yet again, a school district that tries to be so open-minded, their brains fall out. They're not being open-minded. They're nuts. John Hitzler, an attorney who represents the boys, said the boys must also draft a corrective action plan with school administrators. There's no way.
Nope.
No way, if that's my child,
nope,
or if I'm that student, that I'm doing that.
Nope.
No freaking way.
Nope.
I'm going to walk away rich from this school district.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk away with a nice, big, fat check.
Yep.
Wow. Said the boys must also draft a corrective action plan with school administrators. You know what mine would be? Go to hell.
Yep.
That'd be my plan. My plan? Go to hell.
Yep.
Parents told the local media that the investigation will likely appear on the boys' permanent records, and that also is unlawful.
Wow.
What we have found is, one, the boys indeed are the victims of this situation, said the Attorney General of Virginia after Governor Youngkin directed him to investigate this. There is no evidence, none, that we have found that they had sexually harassed anyone, that they had done anything even approaching what would be considered sex discrimination. The reality is, the Loudon County schools, what we have found here, have bad policy and bad judgment. No, they don't. They're perverted adults is what they are.
Yep.
Wow. So there you go. Stonebridge has been the site of a heated debate before over the so-called inclusive gender policies. In 2021, remember this, a skirt-wearing boy assaulted a female student in the women's locker room. The event spurred somewhat of a parent uprising in Virginia, securing then gubernatorial candidate and parental rights advocate Glenn Youngkin's win. Remember then that the boy of that female student came in? Excuse me, the father of that female student came in?
Yeah.
Remember was he arrested? Can't remember if he was arrested or escorted out by police.
I don't know if he was detained or not.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
Wow. The Department of Education determined in July that the Loudoun County Public Schools, Fairfax County Public Schools, Prince William County Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, and the Arlington Public Schools all have bathrooms and locker room policies that violate Title IX. On Friday, all 5 school districts said they would keep their policies in place, as the Department of Education also said last week that they will lose all of their federal funding. These people aren't going to give up.
No, they're not.
They're going to live and die by their perversions.
Yep. This is not over.
How evil are you to do? Seriously, how evil are you? How perverted are these adults?
I don't get it. I just can't wrap my brain around it.
What you do to that family, you keep fighting this. You're gonna get the free legal stuff anyway.
Oh yeah,
any free legal advice you're going to be able to find.
Oh yeah,
that, and you're going to walk away. You may not even get free legal advice because you're going to look at you're going to have these attorneys look at this and say, "My God, you and I said this." What really is going to be the end is not even because they're looking at this saying, we don't care if we get the federal funding. Well, good. Let's get a ton of lawsuits against you.
Right.
Federal lawsuits against you. Yep. You're going to lose. There's big money in here.
Yep.
Big money because you're dealing with kids.
Wow.
You sue the daylights out of them.
I don't see how they don't see that.
They don't care. When you're perverted as these people are, when you're as delusionally perverted, you don't care.
You really don't.
You don't care.
You're checked out. Doesn't matter. You don't care about it.
You don't think clearly.
Nope. Wow.
I think the governor and the attorney general are being too kind in their language back.
Yeah.
They're absolutely breaking federal law. Obama was the one who changed federal law. Think about this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no. I know it was, back then it was for biological females, but times have changed. So Congress didn't change it. Did Congress change Title IX?
Nope.
No. Congress didn't change Title IX.
Nope.
Hey, dude, get out. I'm sorry. By calling Obama dude, did I misgender him?
I don't know about the Obamas. I haven't heard with either one of them.
I mean, these people are absolutely crazy. There's no other way to look at it. They're I don't know. You know something? I don't want to say crazy. They're perverted adults. They're perverts for allowing this to happen. Not only are they perverts, but then they want to force, these young boys to write the corrective action plan to pretend that they're perverts too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's it. And
there are these people, they're on school boards. They run school districts.
Yep. Many of these people spend more waking hours during the school year with your children than you do.
Yep.
Just bizarre. And it's not going to end. Lawsuits will end some of it. The agenda is not going to be over.
No, as we said
They
before.
won't care when they lose lawsuits.
Nope. Because why? They'll simply pass it on to the taxpayer.
Yep. Not their money. They don't care.
Yeah. Not their money.
They'll move on. They'll reignite the agenda somewhere else.
But you sue them anyway.
Yep. You have to.
Somebody has to hurt for it. Your school taxes have to go up because of it.
Yep.
If you're not going to put in, because this is the voters' fault, if the voters are going to put these perverts into office, then you're going to pay the price.
Yep.
I can't imagine if that ever happened.
Oh, I'd be furious.
In my school district.
I'd be furious.
Just live it.
I'd be furious.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
And they don't care.
No, they don't. This is what they don't care if they lose. They don't care what the American people think. They don't care about the other parents who have students in those schools. Look, we already know the Let Police. You, as a parent, don't have any place in your child's school.
By the way, I'd go into school the next day. I'd go into school. I would go into school. You're going to have to get security to bring me out. I am making the biggest public relations thing out of this one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go into school, TV cameras. Here's where I'm walking in.
Right. No, I would announce to all the local media I'm doing a press conference at the school.
Yep. These perverts are not going to control my life. And I mean, if I'm a high school student, I wouldn't have taken that. I didn't take it from the teacher.
Right.
She wanted me suspended for arguing with her in class the one time that communism is not the same as a constitutional republic.
Right.
So if they did that to me, no way.
Nope.
No way.
Nope.
866-98 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at JJ Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on speed and space management. Due to safety concerns, many motor carriers have policies that limit or prohibit the use of cruise control. If your motor carrier does allow you to use cruise control, you should only use it in good driving conditions during daylight hours and on roads that have light traffic, few curves or hills, and a consistent speed limit. Never use cruise control when operating in adverse driving conditions, including wet, icy, or slippery roads, during rush hour in heavy traffic or on congested highways, at night, or when you're tired or fatigued. During all of these driving scenarios, you want to be controlling and adjusting your speed as you drive instead of having to suddenly brake if you encounter an obstacle. In the case of a slippery road surface, you want to be able to slow your vehicle by not accelerating instead of using the brakes whenever possible. This tip was brought to you by JJ Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. You know, we brought you some of the D.C. Police Union brought you some of the statistics. Again, only the 7 days since the federal government has been in charge of law enforcement in D.C., but the crime rate drastically dropped. Again, it's just a week, but again, that's what you want to see. You want to see all those things happen. Washington State. Crime rate is surging as police staffing levels tank is the headline we're looking at right now. So we will get to that. You know, the one thing about crime, Eric, that I live when I occasionally check to see where I live, you can see where you stand on the crime statistics. Just put into Google.
Right.
You know, you can find out exactly, where you live, like the zip code you live in, what the crime rate is. And so it's so easy to do that. I live in a place that has, where I live, is one of the lowest crime rates out there. Somebody had their car stolen in the last couple of days. Don't know how. All over next door. Everybody knows about one car being stolen.
Yeah.
Everybody's concerned about it and looking out.
Because it's rare, right? Because it's rare for that area.
Yep.
Right.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. As always, when you look at crime, because we were talking about the stats that had come out, which shows that overall crime down 8% in the first week, and violent crime down a lot more in Washington, D.C.
Right.
And I had mentioned that, for example, crime is something that you can't hide from people. And that's the thing.
Right.
And if you're in a very, very high crime area and it goes down 10%, you're still in a very, very high crime area. And you know it.
Yep.
Everybody knows it.
Yep.
You know it. Your neighbors know it. Everyone knows it. In the days of internet, even more people know. And that's why I gave you that one example of what was happening in my town. Again, you can check the crime rate of where I live. Now, parts of my town have a lot higher crime. But where I live, it doesn't. Now, I have a lake surrounding me and everything else. You have to get over by most of the access is by bridges.
Right.
So it's just it's a very, very low crime area. But car was stolen. Lady put it up. Man, that thing went viral on Nextdoor. And it was so funny because did you have the key in the car? And the woman puts a question mark.
Yeah.
It's like, so you did or what? I mean, what's going on? I remember we had a speeding car that was pulled over probably about 12, might have been, no, maybe longer than that. Maybe 15 years ago. Christmas Day. Car was pulled over, a teenager in the car, came out shooting at the cops and ran. Probably quarter of a mile from me.
Right.
This is Christmas. I woke up this morning, couldn't go anywhere. You could not go. You could if you were willing to go through the roadblocks everywhere. There are roadblocks everywhere and I live in a more rural subdivision.
Right. Yeah.
And everyone they were checking going in and out trying to find the gunman. And they said everybody stay in the house. I think about 3:00 when they finally got him. They killed him because he shot back at him. Like in a wooded area. It was horrible. But the fact is, you knew the cops are everywhere and 1 second away. Then the other thing in my community, two things. First off, they promote that overnight they pull cars over.
Yeah.
My city is very much a broken window city. The other thing, one time I'm going to work, and I round my corner, there's cops all over the place. And I'm driving through, and I'm like, what happened? They said, somebody breaking into cars. I'm not kidding. There were 5-6 police cars on there and a helicopter in the air with the spotlight. Found out later on, they only actually went after one car. The guy had his windows open. They reached in and grabbed a laptop. It was kids.
Wow.
But you would have thought there was a murder. That's how they reacted.
Yeah, that's something that happened in our neighborhood on our street. It started, we noticed, we had gone for a walk, which back then we were driving to this park, it was a couple of miles away. And then we were driving back from that park, pulling up to the house early in the morning, and the police were everywhere. And there was a helicopter hovering over my house. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is somebody in my backyard? Because I have an 8-foot tall privacy fence. So if they hop that fence and they're in my backyard, maybe the helicopter sees them there. Well, so I go through my house and look out the window to see if there's, anything I could see. And then I went on the side of the house and everything else. And finally, a couple of officers on foot came and told me what was going on. And they had an attempted home break-in. And that was, they said, about 1.5 miles from there. And then they fled on foot and went, past my house. One time there was a high-speed chase, and the guy drove through my, not at the current house, but a few blocks away where I used to live, drove through my yard. I didn't know what was going on. It was about 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'm hearing helicopters and sirens and everything. The day before, or that morning actually, torrential rain had stopped, so my front yard was just as soggy as could be. And he drove through. I don't know if he couldn't get around. I don't know why he had to go through my yard, if they were blocking him or something. I didn't see it until I came out and noticed the mud tracks in my yard. And then he went around the corner, and that's where they caught him. But the guy started in South Dallas. That's where the chase began. And said it went on for, a really long time. I was just waking up. It was, 3:00 in the afternoon. And but for the most part, I don't have much big crime in my neighborhood.
Now, when you look at my city, even though they have a lot of the nonpartisan votes, like a lot of cities in Texas do, you vote, well, it's all nonpartisan. So it's like, we do it strictly on the issues. I'm a majority Democrat town. Nobody complains.
Right.
Where I live, the precinct that I'm in,
You complain about your representative, but other than that, nobody complains.
Well, I'm looking right. I'm looking right now at the map, the political map, not the crime map.
Right.
And I'm actually where my street is split evenly between Republicans and Democrats. You know, but to the west of me, it's split right down. You can see it. Dallas, Tarrant County. It starts as soon as you get into Tarrant County. There's more Republicans. I mean, like there's a line where they look at it. But where I live is evenly split. And then but evenly split, and then the rest is all solid blue. So probably a quarter of my town is evenly split, and the rest is more liberal.
Yeah.
More Democrat. And nobody complains. Now, the actual precinct I'm in is like 60-40 Democrat. And minority, a majority minority district. And when the liquor stores came in, everybody went crazy. They didn't want liquor stores in their area.
Right.
The point is, traditionally, crime has not been a political issue. You think about it, 20 years ago, were Democrats talking about protecting the criminal? Would Democrats 20 years ago have said we need social workers instead of police responding to domestic calls? Would they say no bail? Would they say, well, if you rob $800, $900 from a store, that we shouldn't do anything about it? No. You're not answering me. Do you disagree with me? Or
Well, I mean, no, that's, that wouldn't have happened. You know, I mean, the thing is that, I thought it was a proverbial question.
Okay, rhetorical. Okay. No, I understand. It's like he really isn't asking me that question.
I thought you were coming to, I thought you were going to have a point. No, I thought you were.
Gary, if you're going to speak.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt.
Have a point.
Yeah. No, I thought it was rhetoric, like most of the stuff on the show. But not hyperbole. Our billions of listeners know that we never engage in hyperbole. But that's that's what I think is different about today. What concerns me is when you have, when you stand back from D.C., for those that don't live there, but we look at the left's willingness that they're all out to basically be pro-crime. How dare you enforce the law? You have to extrapolate that out and ask the question, is it happening? To what extent is it happening in other places, including where I live? Not that it's even what drives everything, that it is the majority of people. But if there are enough that don't care, you get just enough people who don't care or are anti-law enforcement, then it becomes a much more dangerous situation. And that's what scares me. That's what concerns me the most about this whole thing, is that, and then you get into the point of people that aren't like that, but they also don't want to speak up and say, well, we need more police, that we need this or we need that. And they're afraid to talk politically because they think they're going to be, that the liberal activists are going to come after them if they're pro-law enforcement, if they just want to be safe in their own home. And I think that's, a very frightening prospect to look at long term, is this growing anti-law enforcement sentiment coming from the radical left.
But it's more coming from the politicians. I guess that's my point, that when you look at it, and a number of columnists have wrote about it saying, well, now, as we're a week into it, Democrats are admitting, no, this is actually a good thing, but it's Trump. We have to criticize him. If it's Trump, doesn't matter whether it's good, we need to criticize him. But you've got, how many people have you seen interviewed on the TV that have said, my God, I mean, I'm a Democrat, for God's sakes. It shows that the Democrats can do something about crime. They just choose not to.
Yeah.
That look at this. We see it right now. We need something like this. They understand crime did not used to be a huge political issue.
No, everybody agreed.
Right, everybody agreed. Stop crime.
In fact, it was more of a contest to say, I'll be stronger on crime. No. I'll be stronger on crime. I mean, that's where it used to, which is only logical. In fact, it kind of made it mundane, right? When you think about New York City and coming in and changing basically this the mindset about and the reputation of New York City by cleaning things up, that was no small task. But now the left is okay with, we don't have to report a theft of below $1,000. We don't have to send an officer for something like that. Just write something online, fill out a report online. We don't have to prosecute this or that. And it becomes extremely concerning. Like you said, in your neighborhood, I believe this is still the case in my neighborhood. It's still a broken windows approach.
Mm-hmm.
I know they pay great attention to detail, including speed, when you're traveling.
No, absolutely.
In the dark hours. And I love that.
My town still promotes on social media, if they pull a car over at 2 a.m, I'll say we pulled a car over because of a headlight out. We smelled marijuana. We went in. We found drugs. We found burglar tools. Your police department is working overnight for you.
Right. Yep.
Nobody's complaining.
Right.
And I live in a majority Democrat town.
Right.
Nobody's complaining.
Right.
No, like I said, in my precinct, which is a Democrat precinct, when that first liquor store came in, people threw a fit. And you could look at it, it was the vast majority in my precinct. I live in on my street. It's a majority minority street. It's a majority minority precinct that I live in.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants a liquor store.
Right.
Why?
Peace, quiet, and safety.
Exactly. We want our kids.
That's what people want.
We want our kids to be safe.
Raise a family.
All this stuff did not used to be. Well, maybe having a liquor store that adults should be able to get liquor. Maybe that's a political issue.
Right.
But the fact is, a lot of people moved there because they said, well, all these temptations aren't there, and I wish to live in this type of society.
You think in Austin, Texas, they have vaping with a cop? I'm just asking questions. Just wondering.
Or the coffee spiked.
Yeah, maybe.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. Coming up following the top of the hour, talking about crime. Washington State crime rate surges over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And what else? Yes. Fundraising, Republicans versus Democrats right now. All I got to say is, wow. That all coming up.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.